Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, where the passion of Anfield meets the pulse of breaking news. Today's update is bursting with drama. Arne Slot has been forced into a $100 million transfer rethink thanks to rising star Rio Ngumoha. Mohamed Salah's role is under the spotlight once again with a major selection and position twist, and Brentford brings an unusual kickoff that could shake things up in the Premier League weekend. Add in a blunt Harvey Elliott evaluation from Unai Emery and Jason McAteer's concerns about a key Red who suddenly looks lost after a phenomenal season. Strap in, Reds. The storylines are flying as fast as a Trent cross into the box. Let's dive into the chaos together. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Arne Slot forced to change 100 Mameller's Liverpool transfer plan thanks to Rio Ngumoha. Liverpool was reportedly considering a move for Antoine Semenyo during the last summer transfer window. But the emergence of Rio Ngumoha changed the club's transfer strategy. It appears that Liverpool's rising star, Rio Ngumoha, has caused a shift in the club's transfer strategy. The Daily Mail indicates that Arne Slot's team had contemplated a move for Bournemouth's wide forward Antoine Semenyo during the previous summer transfer window. However, the Reds were reluctant to obstruct the progress of Ngumoha, the 17-year-old sensation, and decided to change their transfer plan. Ngumoha has already clocked up 5 appearances across all competitions this season, including netting a spectacular late Premier League winner from the bench against Newcastle at St. James's Park. Despite Slot's careful nurturing of his development, there's an undeniable excitement surrounding the young winger. Nonetheless, Liverpool has appeared somewhat short on wing options of late, with the Reds reported to be among the Premier League clubs monitoring Semenyo. The report suggests that the Cherries would demand upwards of $75 million, $100 million, for the 25-year-old, who has scored 6 goals and provided 3 assists in just 8 Premier League matches. Liverpool's interest is not yet advanced, but the Reds are one of several clubs keeping tabs on the forward. Semenyo is a vital component of Andoni Iraola's team, and Bournemouth is under no pressure to offload its star player in January. Bournemouth has already raked in a fortune from player sales in the recent summer window, including selling Dean Huijsen to Real Madrid, Ilya Zabarny to Paris Saint-Germain, and Milos Kerkez to Liverpool. Bournemouth has started the season on a high note, currently occupying 4th place and setting its sights on a European spot. There are whispers that a hefty $100 million offer for Semenyo could bring Bournemouth to the negotiation table this summer. It's believed both Tottenham and Manchester United expressed interest in the player last year. Speculation is rife that the Ghana international has a release clause that activates in 2026, although these claims remain unconfirmed at present. Chelsea and Bayern Munich are also reportedly interested in Semenyo, with the latter viewing the forward as a potential replacement for Michael Olise, should contract talks hit a roadblock. Liverpool's sporting director Richard Hughes, who brought Semenyo from Bristol City in 2023 and maintains a strong relationship with Bournemouth, could be instrumental in any forthcoming transfer discussions. Liverpool lineups for Brentford as Mohamed Salah selection and position decision made are. Writers predict the Liverpool lineups for tonight's Premier League clash against Brentford. At the G-Tech Community Stadium, Liverpool attempt to get their title defense. Back on track tonight at Brentford, 8 p.m. kickoff. The Reds stopped their mini-rot with an excellent and morale-boosting 5-1 win at Eintracht Frankfurt in midweek. But having secured their second Champions League victory of the season, they will be determined to end a run of 3 straight defeats in the Premier League this evening. It won't be easy, however. Against a Brentford side that have beaten Aston Villa and Manchester United and ran Chelsea and Manchester City close at home this season. Liverpool have injury problems, too, with up to 5 players missing the clash at the G-Tech Community Stadium. How, then, does Reds boss play it? Our writers have their say, Paul Gorst on. Slot didn't exactly go back to basics to see off Eintracht Frankfurt on Wednesday night, but the changes he made certainly worked as Liverpool looked a more fluid attacking outfit than they have in recent weeks. The decision to recall Andy Robertson for Milos Kerkez was the right-on in my book, and with Jeremy Frimpong now hamstrung, This feels like a good time for Connor Bradley to start over Joe Gomez at right back. In midfield, Dominic Szoboszlai was outstanding in Germany, and he starts once more alongside Curtis Jones, who keeps his place despite the claims of Alexis McAllister, who still doesn't look 100%. The decision to start Florian Wirtz is one I wrestled with here. The playmaker may find space at a premium against a powerful Brentford, but after his best performance for Liverpool to date, you have to keep the number 7 in the team. He starts in a more central role for me this evening. Mohamed Salah returns. There has been a huge debate about the Egyptian, but with Alexander Isak unlikely to feature, Slot needs goal scorers, and there are none better at Anfield than Salah, despite how much public opinion has been oddly swayed by a handful of games. My team, 4-2-3-1, Mamardashvili, Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Szoboszlai, Jones, Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo. Ekitike. Ian Doyle win is a win. But Liverpool will have been particularly relieved to get back on track with their comprehensive Champions League triumph at Eintracht Frankfurt in midweek. Saturday evening in Brentford in the Premier League, though, is a very different and more difficult proposition. What, then, is Reds boss Arne Slot to do? With this a third of 7 games in 22 days, there will be changes. Although almost all of them are injury-influenced, Georgi Mamardashvili didn't have loads to do in Germany but can expect a busy time tonight and will stay in goal. Ibrahima Konate can partner skipper Virgil van Dijk at centre-back, and for me, Andy Robertson has done enough to stay at left-back with Connor Bradley in at right-back. Brentford are likely to switch to a 5-man defense, so I'd stick to a 4-4-2 approach. And there's no point risking Ryan Gravenberch. So Dominic Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones can continue as the double pivot. With Cody Gakpo off to the left and Florian Wirtz ostensibly on the right, it means Mohamed Salah can return in a central striking role alongside Hugo Ekitike. Don't think Brentford will be expecting that. My team, 4-4-2, Mamardashvili. Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Wirtz, Szoboszlai, Jones, Gakpo, Salah, Ekitike. What channel is Brentford versus Liverpool on? Live stream and unusual kickoff. Time Liverpool take on Brentford away in their return to Premier League duties as they aim to stop their 3-match losing run in the top-flight Liverpool. Will head into their match against Brentford. Off the back of a win for the first time in more than a month, the Reds curbed their 4-match streak of losses with a momentous 5-1 victory against Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League on Wednesday. While the victory certainly buoyed the confidence of the reigning league champions, their dire run of 3 league losses in a row remains, having succumbed to defeats against Crystal Palace, Chelsea, and most recently, Manchester United. Despite Brentford's worrying start to the season, they've bounced back in recent weeks with 2 wins in their last 3 games, including an impressive 3-1 victory against the Red Devils. The Reds pulled off a last-minute 2-0 victory at the G-Tech Community Stadium last season in what will prove to be yet another tightly contested clash in West London. Here's everything you need to know for tuning into Saturday's evening clash. What time is Brentford versus Liverpool? Brentford versus Liverpool will take place today, Saturday, October 25th. Referee Simon Hooper will kick off the action at 8 p.m. this evening. Read more. Florian Wirtz has German media in agreement as telling. Liverpool reaction spotted. Read more. Jamie Carragher makes feelings clear on Arne Slot's treatment of Mohamed Salah. What channel is Brentford versus Liverpool on? The clash at the G-Tech Community Stadium will be broadcast live on TNT Sports, with the match selected for live coverage back in August. While the match was initially scheduled for the customary 12:30 p.m. slot, it was rescheduled due to Liverpool's Champions League commitments. The Reds played away from home in Europe on Wednesday, therefore a swift return to league action in the early afternoon was not possible. The game was then handed an evening kickoff time at 8 p.m., which will be Liverpool's 3rd of the season. What's the Brentford versus Liverpool team news? Liverpool's victory over Frankfurt was a welcome end to their losing streak, but left them reeling in terms of injuries. Jeremy Frimpong and Alexander Isak were both substituted off, with the fullback suffering a hamstring injury, while the striker was said to have felt his groin, according to Arne Slot. Curtis Jones, Andy Robertson, and Hugo Ekitike returned to the starting lineup on Wednesday after being benched against Manchester United, and were among the Reds' best players in the European clash. The trio could retain their spots, and with Isak likely to miss out, Salah could make a return to Slot's starting angle. Keith Andrews has had a settled team so far in his debut season in charge, but he'll have to do without Aaron Hickey, Antony Malambo, Gustavo Nunes, and Paris Magoma, who all remain sidelined with injury. Jason McAteer claims Liverpool star looks lost after phenomenal season. Many of Liverpool's summer signings have struggled to play at their best in the first weeks of the season. But speaking in a recent interview, McAteer highlighted one player who has particularly disappointed him. Former Liverpool midfielder Jason McAteer has revealed his disappointment at Milos Kerkez's performance level this season and claimed the left-back appears to be overthinking following his summer move from Bournemouth. The Hungarian has struggled to adapt since his $53 million transfer, and his performances have often underwhelmed. Kerkez's one-on-one defending has been poor, while he has contributed little offensively and has looked awkward in Liverpool's build-up play. The defender was withdrawn after just 38 minutes in September's win over Burnley, with Arne Slot fearing he was on the verge of receiving a second yellow card. Kerkez also looked susceptible in the recent defeats against Crystal Palace and Chelsea. Andy Robertson replaced Kerkez in the lineup for the midweek Champions League win over Eintracht Frankfurt, and Liverpool was much more effective with the Scotland captain in the side. Speaking in a recent interview, McAteer said he wants Kerkez to play with the same intensity and confidence that he routinely showed at Bournemouth last season, a campaign which was rewarded with a spot in the PFA team of the season. The player that has probably disappointed me is probably Kerkez, the former Republic of Ireland international, told Liverpool World. I thought he had a phenomenal season at Bournemouth. Great energy, great delivery, loved his enthusiasm. But I just feel he's a little bit lost at the minute. At Bournemouth, he just looked like he loved playing football. There was not a care in the world, and he just played football, and that was the beauty of his performances last season. It was just great. This season, it looks like he's thinking about everything. Should I be here? Should I be there? Should I make this run? Do I go inside? Who do I pass it to? Should I go back? He's like painting by numbers at the minute. Despite that, Slot has started Kerkez in all 8 Premier League matches so far this season. The Liverpool head coach was asked on Friday what has given the 21-year-old the edge over Robertson, a question he deflected. I don't think this is the place for me to say this because then I have to say something about Robbo as well, said Slot. The reason why we brought him in is that he brings a lot of energy to the game. He keeps going up and down and is very good at defending the 1v1 situations against his winger. Defensively solid and a lot of energy making the overlaps. For me, he has been a bit unlucky that Cody Gakpo hasn't used him. Mainly his biggest strength is coming inside and hitting the target. But we have shown Cody a few moments where playing the ball to Milos would have been the better option. Again, an example of 2 players who maybe need to find a connection better than they already do. That's why we brought him in. Unai Emery makes blunt Harvey Elliott admission as 35 million's Liverpool transfer trigger close. Harvey Elliott has made only 2 starts since moving to Aston Villa on loan from Liverpool, and it appears would currently not be forthcoming under Unai Emery Aston. Villa boss Unai Emery says Harvey Elliott's performances have not been good enough to get in his team. The Liverpool loanee has been an unused substitute in each of the last 3 games for Villa, including Thursday night's surprise Europa League defeat to Dutch minnows go-ahead Eagles. Elliott has made just 5 appearances in a loan deal that will become permanent when he makes it into double figures. But just 2 have come from the start, and in one of those he was withdrawn at half-time. Emery said, I am being very, very demanding myself to choose in each match the player to start and the players on the bench and the subs players, and firstly, is always trying to get the best performance collectively through individual players. Harvey is a 10 number in our structure, in our shape, and he plays some matches and there is still adaptation to add himself individually in our structure, the task we have. Of course, he is training well and his commitment is being very well as well, but his performance was not enough up to this point. At the same time, we have other players who can play as a 10 and they are performing well, and I have different players. This is the main reason he is not playing the last match's minutes, but he has to continue working like he is doing in the training session and, of course, getting his confidence in the performance we need through him. Elliott, who helped England under-21s to European Championship glory in the summer, can also play wide on the right, but Emery is reluctant to use him there. His quality, in my opinion, is to play no 10, the Spaniard added. He can maybe play wide right like John McGinn, but he will need more time. At the beginning, I signed him thinking him to play no 10 and getting the performance and getting him to play consistently for us. There are other players who can play there. Elliott left Liverpool for Villa on transfer deadline day, completing a loan switch with a 35 million obligation to make it permanent at the end of the campaign, providing he has made 10 appearances for the club. The boyhood Red said in September after returning to Merseyside with his new club for a 0-0 draw at Everton. It was very difficult. First of all, the decision to leave and then on top of that to find the best club. There were a few difficult decisions I had to make. I had to sit down and speak to the team and go into a lot of detail, but it was the decision that was made, and the decision was to come here. I'm over the moon. As I said in that interview, when I signed, I'm so happy to be here, and I really want to kick on, to get this club where they deserve. With this team, anything is possible, and we just need to fight together and keep going. I mean, for me, I loved every minute of it. Every second, every day. I wouldn't change it, to be honest. I learned so much from being there and experienced many things. But I think the most important thing for me when I was making the decision was to be playing first-team football. I need to be in a team where I'm getting regular minutes. Whether that's starting or coming off the bench, just having that feeling of going into a match day knowing you're going to play, that's the only way I can improve now. The love I have for Liverpool is still going to be there forever. That's not going to change. I'm still going to be watching and looking out for them from afar. I'm wishing them all the very best. But sometimes in football, you need to be selfish. I made the decision to leave because I wanted to do what's best for me. I take all of my experiences and everything I learned from Liverpool. Hopefully I can start to kick on now.